The quantum anomaly detector in Dr. Sarah Chen's laboratory started beeping at exactly 3:47 a.m. Eastern Time. She had spent the last decade developing this technology, convinced that conventional methods of scanning for extraterrestrial life were fundamentally flawed. Tonight proved her right. "Commander Walsh," she spoke into her secure line, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "We have multiple signatures entering the solar system. They're using some form of quantum displacement for propulsion." Within hours, the highest levels of Earth's Unified Defense Command were activated. Unlike the panicked responses depicted in countless science fiction stories, humanity had been preparing for this moment for generations. The quantum detection grid, hidden in what appeared to be standard satellite networks, had given them nearly 6 hours of advance warning before conventional systems would detect the approaching vessels. The alien fleet materialized just beyond lunar orbit, 7 massive ships that seemed to bend the very fabric of space around them. Their design was organic, almost crystalline, with surfaces that shifted and flowed like liquid metal. Leading them was a vessel twice the size of the others, its hull adorned with patterns that pulsed with an inner light. Dr. Chen stood in the heart of the Quantum Defense Initiative's underground facility in the Rocky Mountains, surrounded by holographic displays showing real-time analysis of the alien vessels. Beside her, Commander James Walsh watched with the calculated calm of someone who had run this scenario in simulations countless times. "Their quantum signature is exactly as you predicted," Walsh noted, his weathered face illuminated by the displays. "They're using controlled quantum tunneling for both propulsion and weapon systems." "Yes," Chen replied, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "But they're using a remarkably inefficient approach. Their technology appears to be built on fundamentally different principles than ours." Before they could discuss further, the alien fleet broadcast their message. It appeared simultaneously on every communications device across the planet, bypassing all security protocols. The image that materialized showed a being that defied human expectations. Instead of the typical humanoid or insectoid forms of science fiction, they appeared as shifting columns of crystalline structures, pulsing with internal energy. "People of Earth," the translation appeared in every human language simultaneously. "We are the Quantum Concordat, masters of 11,000 star systems. Your world has been chosen to join our federation. Resistance is impossible. We have encountered 372 civilizations, and none have survived refusing our offer. You will surrender your quantum research facilities and all associated personnel. We have detected your primitive attempts at quantum manipulation. Under our guidance, you will serve a greater purpose." In the facility's command center, President Helena Rodriguez joined the emergency session via quantum-encrypted hologram. "Dr. Chen, Commander Walsh, they know about the program. How is that possible?" Chen's expression remained focused as she analyzed incoming data. "They don't know everything, Madam President. They detected our quantum grid, yes, but they're reading it as preliminary research. They have no idea about Project Prometheus." Walsh nodded in agreement. "The Concordat's scanning technology is based on their own quantum principles. They can't detect what they don't understand, and our approach to quantum mechanics is fundamentally different from theirs." President Rodriguez's hologram showed her in the White House Situation Room, surrounded by advisors. "You're both certain about this?" "Absolutely," Chen replied. "Their quantum technology is built on manipulation of existing quantum states. Ours is based on creating new ones. It's like they're playing chess while we're inventing a new game entirely." The president's expression hardened with resolve. "Then we proceed as planned. Dr. Chen, initialize Project Prometheus. Commander Walsh, prepare our response teams. Let's show the Concordat why humanity's approach to quantum physics is unique." As Chen began the initialization sequence, the alien fleet's deadline for response approached. The Concordat had given Earth 24 hours to surrender. They were about to learn that humanity had been preparing for this moment for far longer. In laboratories and military installations around the world, quantum cores began powering up. These weren't the brute force quantum computers that the public knew about. They were something entirely different. Chen's breakthrough had come from realizing that quantum states could be not just manipulated but generated from scratch, creating entirely new rules for how reality worked at the smallest scales. The Concordat's ultimatum reached its final hour. In cities across the planet, people waited in a mixture of fear and determination. But in the Rocky Mountain facility, humanity's response was taking shape. Project Prometheus is at full power, Chen announced, her hand steady as she made final adjustments. Quantum field generators are synchronized globally. We're ready. President Rodriguez addressed the facility through her hologram. Dr. Chen, Commander Walsh, you have authorization to proceed. Show them humanity's answer. Walsh stepped forward, his voice clear and firm as he transmitted humanity's response to the Quantum Concordat. To the masters of 11,000 systems, we decline your offer. Earth is not yours to take. You speak of impossibility. We specialize in making the impossible real. You mentioned 372 civilizations that couldn't resist you. We will be remembered as the one that did. You gave us an ultimatum. Here's ours. Leave now, or witness what happens when humanity truly unleashes its potential. The Concordat's response was immediate. The massive ships began charging their quantum weapons, their crystalline surfaces blazing with energy. But they had made a crucial mistake. They assumed Earth's quantum technology would follow the same rules as theirs. Dr. Chen activated Project Prometheus with a single command. Across the planet, quantum cores pulsed in perfect synchronization. The effect was subtle at first, a slight shimmer in the air, a momentary distortion in space-time. Then reality itself seemed to hiccup. The Concordat's weapons fired, massive beams of quantum-enhanced energy lancing toward major cities. But they never reached their targets. Instead, they encountered something unprecedented. Zones of space where the fundamental laws of quantum mechanics had been rewritten. Their energy weapons didn't just fail. They ceased to exist, their very quantum states nullified by rules of physics that humans had written from scratch. In the Rocky Mountain facility, Chen watched the data streams with intense focus. The quantum nullification fields are holding. Their weapons literally cannot exist within our modified quantum spaces. We're not just defending. We're rewriting the rules they have to play by. The alien fleet's response was chaos. Their quantum sensors, designed to detect manipulation of existing quantum states, were overwhelmed by spaces where quantum mechanics itself worked differently. Their ships, dependent on quantum tunneling for propulsion and stability, began experiencing critical failures as they encountered patches of space where tunneling simply wasn't possible. Commander Walsh allowed himself a small smile as he watched the Concordat's mighty fleet flailing in confusion. Send the final message, he ordered. Across every quantum frequency the aliens could detect, Earth broadcast 3 words: "We warned you." What followed would be remembered in human history as the 20-minute war. The Concordat's fleet, unable to maintain quantum cohesion in space that followed humanity's rules rather than nature's, was forced to retreat. Their mighty ships, capable of destroying planets, were rendered impotent by human ingenuity and understanding that quantum physics wasn't just a set of rules to be followed, it was a language that could be rewritten. As the alien fleet disappeared into quantum space, Dr. Chen finally allowed herself to relax slightly. They'll be back, she said, but next time they'll know they're not facing a primitive civilization playing with quantum mechanics. They're facing a species that can rewrite the laws of physics itself. President Rodriguez's hologram nodded solemnly. Then we'll be ready. Humanity just proved we can stand against the greatest power in known space. Now we prepare for what comes next. Commander Walsh looked at the quantum activity monitors, still showing ripples from their demonstration of power. They thought they were offering to guide our development, he mused. Instead, they learned that humanity doesn't just adapt to the rules of the universe. We learn to change them. As news of the victory spread across Earth, a new era of human history began. The species that had dreamed of reaching the stars now knew they could do more than just visit them. They could reshape the very fabric of space itself. The quantum concordat had arrived expecting to find another civilization to absorb into their federation. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant, one that would soon make its own mark on the galaxy. In her lab, Dr. Chen was already working on improvements to Project Prometheus. Humanity's first interstellar conflict had lasted 20 minutes. She intended to make sure any future encounters would be even shorter. The universe was vast, but humanity had proven it could rise to any challenge, not by playing by the existing rules, but by daring to write new ones. 3 days after the quantum concordat's retreat, Dr. Sarah Chen stood before a hidden chamber deep beneath the Rocky Mountain facility. The room housed the true heart of Project Prometheus, a quantum core unlike any other. Unlike the public-facing cores stationed worldwide, this one had been the prototype, the proof that humanity could not just observe quantum states, but create them from scratch. The core resembled a sphere of pure light, suspended in a crystalline lattice of humanity's own design. What made it unique wasn't its appearance, but what it represented. The moment humans stopped trying to understand the universe's rules and started writing their own. "They'll be analyzing our defense systems now," Commander Walsh said, joining her in the chamber. "The concordat won't stay away for long." Chen nodded, her reflection rippling across the core's surface. They don't understand what they witnessed. Their entire civilization is built on quantum manipulation, bending existing rules to their will. We took a different path. The story of that different path began 15 years ago, in a basement laboratory at MIT. Chen, then a graduate student, had made a discovery that her peers initially dismissed as impossible. While everyone else studied how to manipulate quantum states, she questioned why those states existed in the first place. Her hypothesis was revolutionary. Quantum mechanics wasn't a fixed set of laws, but a framework that could be rewritten. The military implications were immediately apparent. Major powers around the world had quantum weapons research programs, all based on manipulating existing quantum states for destructive purposes. Chen's discovery suggested something far more powerful: the ability to simply deny those weapons the quantum states they needed to function. Dr. Patel's team in Mumbai has confirmed what we suspected, Walsh continued, pulling up a holographic display. The Concordat ships didn't just retreat because their weapons failed. They retreated because their entire propulsion system started breaking down. Chen smiled slightly. Of course it did. Their quantum tunneling drives require specific quantum states to function. We didn't just block those states, we rewrote them. It would be like trying to drive a car while someone is actively changing the laws of combustion. In the years leading up to first contact, humanity had prepared in ways the Concordat couldn't have imagined. While their sensors detected what they assumed were primitive quantum experiments, Earth was actually establishing a network of reality-altering devices. Each quantum core was capable of rewriting the fundamental rules of physics within its sphere of influence. The facility's main control room was abuzz with activity. Teams of scientists and military personnel worked around the clock, analyzing data from the brief engagement and strengthening Earth's defenses. Dr. Maya Rodriguez, Chen's former student and now head of quantum theory application, approached with a new set of calculations. "We've mapped the complete quantum signature of their fleet," Maya reported, bringing up a complex three-dimensional model. "Their technology is incredibly advanced, but it's also rigid. They've spent millennia perfecting their understanding of quantum mechanics as they exist naturally. They never considered the possibility of changing those rules." Chen studied the model intently. "They've built their entire civilization on a foundation we can simply rewrite. No wonder they want our research. We're not just threatening their military superiority. We're threatening their entire way of life." The implications went far beyond military defense. Humanity's approach to quantum physics opened possibilities the Concordat had never dreamed of. While they had mastered space travel through existing quantum principles, humans were learning to create new ones. The potential applications were limitless. "We've detected quantum disturbances at the edge of the solar system," Walsh announced, drawing their attention to a new alert. "They're scanning us, trying to understand what we did. But their sensors can only detect quantum manipulation, not quantum creation." Maya's fingers danced across her console, adjusting Earth's quantum defense grid. "Should we block their scans?" "No," Chen decided. "Let them look. Let them see exactly what they're dealing with. Sometimes the best defense is letting your opponent know just how outmatched they are." In labs across the planet, humanity's brightest minds worked to expand on Chen's breakthrough. The quantum cores were already capable of rewriting physics within their range, but new applications were being discovered daily. Some researchers were developing ways to create stable micro-universes with their own physical laws. Others were exploring how to extend the range of quantum state manipulation. "Latest intelligence suggests the Concordat is gathering a larger fleet," Walsh reported. "They've never failed to subjugate a civilization before. Their entire power structure is built on being technologically superior." Chen walked to the facility's observation deck, looking up at the stars visible through the reinforced transparent ceiling. "They still think this is about technology. They don't understand that we've changed the game entirely. They're masters of the universe as it exists. We're becoming masters of what it could be." The quantum core behind her pulsed rhythmically, each beat representing another moment where humanity rewrote the rules of reality. In the brief conflict with the Concordat, they had only demonstrated the defensive capabilities of their discovery. The true potential was far greater. "Dr. Chen," Maya called from her station, "we're detecting quantum communications between Concordat vessels. Massive amounts of data transfer." "They're preparing," Walsh said grimly, "gathering everything they know about us, trying to find a weakness." Chen's expression remained confident. "Let them prepare. Every prediction they make, every strategy they develop, will be based on their understanding of quantum physics. An understanding we can change at will." In the days that followed, humanity's preparations intensified. The quantum defense grid was expanded and strengthened. New cores were brought online, each capable of rewriting physics within its designated zone. But more importantly, humanity began to truly grasp the implications of their discovery. "We're not just defending Earth anymore," Chen explained to a gathering of world leaders. "We're advancing human understanding beyond anything the Concordat has achieved in millennia. They mastered the universe as it is. We're learning to master what it could be." As if to emphasize her point, the quantum core behind her shifted colors, its light taking on patterns that seemed to defy the very nature of reality. In its glow, humanity's future looked brighter than ever. The Concordat had meant to subjugate Earth, but instead they had awakened something unprecedented, a species that refused to be bound by the rules of the universe itself. The next confrontation was coming, but this time, Earth wouldn't just be defending itself. They would show the Concordat and the galaxy at large that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in mastering existing rules, it was in daring to write new ones. The quantum Concordat returned to Earth's solar system exactly 2 weeks after their first defeat. This time, they arrived with 30 ships instead of 7. Their massive vessels emerged from quantum space in a formation that spoke of absolute confidence, a confidence humanity was about to shatter. In the Rocky Mountain Facilities Command Center, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the tactical display with practiced calm. The Concordat's fleet had arranged itself in a spherical pattern around Earth, clearly intending to prevent any possible escape. They didn't realize that humanity had no intention of running. "Multiple quantum signatures detected," Maya reported from her station. "They've modified their propulsion systems. They're trying to compensate for our quantum interference." Commander Walsh nodded grimly. "As expected, but they're still working with the same fundamental principles." The Concordat's first transmission carried none of the diplomatic pretense of their previous communication. The crystalline beings appeared on screens worldwide, their forms pulsing with barely contained energy. "Your resistance was impressive, but ultimately futile. Their message declared, "We have analyzed your quantum manipulation techniques. Our systems have been adjusted. Surrender now, or we will demonstrate why the quantum concordat has ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years." President Rodriguez's hologram materialized in the command center. "Dr. Chen, are we ready for this?" Chen's response was to activate a new set of controls on her quantum interface. "More than ready, Madam President. While they were studying our defenses, we were perfecting our offense." The Concordat's fleet began their attack exactly as Chen had predicted. Their ships launched a synchronized barrage of quantum-enhanced energy weapons, each beam calibrated to pierce what they believed to be Earth's quantum defense grid. The energy bursts carved through space toward their targets, and then something unprecedented happened. Instead of hitting an invisible barrier or being nullified, the weapon beams began to curve. Every single energy burst bent in a graceful arc, forming a complex geometric pattern in Earth's orbit. The sight was beautiful, almost artistic, and completely devastating to the Concordat's battle strategy. "What you're witnessing," Chen explained to the astonished observers in the command center, "is Project Helios. We're not just rewriting quantum states anymore. We're rewriting spatial geometry itself." The Concordat's weapons fire continued to curve and twist, forming an ever more complex pattern of light around the planet. Some beams began intersecting with others, but instead of causing explosions, they merged and transformed, their energy reconstructing itself according to humanity's new physical laws. "They're trying to adjust their targeting," Maya reported, her fingers dancing across her console. "But they don't understand. We're not blocking their attacks. We're repurposing them." Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Initiate Phase 2. The pattern of transformed energy beams suddenly contracted, forming a perfect sphere of light around Earth. Then, with a pulse that rippled through space-time itself, the sphere expanded. As it passed through the Concordat's fleet, their ships began to change. The crystalline vessels, once symbols of absolute power, started shifting and flowing like liquid metal. Their quantum-based technology, encountering spaces where quantum mechanics functioned according to human-written rules, began to transform in ways their creators had never imagined possible. "By the stars," one of the military observers whispered, "What are we doing to them?" "We're teaching them," Chen replied calmly. "Their entire civilization is based on manipulating quantum states that exist naturally. We're showing them what happens when those states can be rewritten at will." The Concordat's mighty fleet was now trapped in a sphere of transformed space, where their technology worked according to humanity's rules rather than their own. Their ships hadn't been destroyed. They had been changed, reconstructed according to new physical laws that humans had written. "Message from the Concordat flagship," Maya announced. They're asking how this is possible." President Rodriguez looked to Chen. "Perhaps it's time we explained exactly what they're dealing with." Chen nodded and stepped forward to address the Concordat directly. "Your civilization mastered quantum mechanics as they existed naturally. That was your first mistake. You never considered that the rules themselves could be rewritten. Every weapon you fire, every system you power, requires specific quantum states to function. We don't just control those states. We create new ones." The silence from the Concordat's fleet was profound. Their ships hung in space, transformed but intact, trapped in a reality that operated according to rules they had never imagined possible. "Your second mistake," Chen continued, "was assuming that our defense 2 weeks ago was the extent of our capabilities. What you witnessed then was a simple nullification field. What you're experiencing now is something entirely different. We're not just preventing your quantum technology from working, we're teaching it to work differently." As if to demonstrate her point, the quantum field surrounding the Concordat's fleet pulsed again. Their ships briefly flickered with patterns of light that matched Earth's quantum cores, as if the vessels themselves were learning to speak a new quantum language. "Final phase," Chen ordered. The transformed energy from the Concordat's own weapons began to flow back toward their ships. But instead of destroying them, it enveloped them in a cocoon of light. When the light faded, Their vessels had been restored to their original form, with one crucial difference. We've rewritten the quantum signature of their entire fleet, Maya explained, reading from her displays. Their ships will now respond to the physical laws we create, not the ones they were built for. Commander Walsh studied the tactical display with satisfaction. In other words, we haven't just defeated them, we've converted them. The Concordats' response came minutes later. Their message was brief, but its implications would echo across the galaxy. We request dialogue. As the tension in Earth's command centers began to ease, Chen turned to President Rodriguez's hologram. They finally understand. This isn't about resistance or defiance. It's about evolution. They spent millennia mastering the universe as it was. We've learned to imagine what it could be. The president nodded solemnly. And now they want to learn from us. Yes, Chen replied, watching the transformed Concordat fleet on her displays. But first, they need to understand that humanity doesn't bow to those who demand tribute. We teach those who are willing to learn. In the space around Earth, the Concordat's mighty fleet hung suspended in humanity's quantum field, their ships now living proof that the rules of reality itself were no longer fixed. The species they had come to subjugate had instead opened their eyes to possibilities they had never imagined. The galaxy was about to change, not through force or conquest, but through humanity's greatest gift, the ability to look at the fundamental laws of the universe and ask, what if? The Quantum Concordat's request for dialogue marked the beginning of humanity's most audacious deception. In the weeks following the transformation of their fleet, Earth's leaders had prepared for negotiations. But Dr. Sarah Chen and her team had a different plan in mind, one that would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy forever. The crystalline beings of the Concordat arrived at the newly constructed quantum embassy in Geneva, their forms shimmering with barely contained energy. They believed they were coming to learn about humanity's breakthrough in quantum physics. They didn't realize they were walking into the most sophisticated quantum field ever created. Welcome to Earth. President Rodriguez greeted the Concordat delegation. We're prepared to share our understanding of quantum mechanics with you, as equals. The lead delegate, who introduced himself as High Commander Zinra, pulsed with what humans had learned to recognize as acknowledgement. Your species has demonstrated capabilities that defy our understanding. In 10,000 years, we have never encountered anything like this. Chen stood quietly at the back of the chamber, monitoring readings on her quantum interface. Every word, every movement, every energy signature from the Concordat delegates was being analyzed and fed into Project Oracle, the true masterpiece of human quantum innovation. Tell me, High Commander, Chen spoke up, stepping forward. In all your travels through the galaxy, have you ever encountered another civilization that chose to rewrite physical laws rather than master existing ones? Zinra's crystalline form flickered, a sign of confusion. Such a thing would be impossible. The laws of physics are immutable. What you have achieved is merely an extremely advanced form of manipulation. Chen smiled slightly. Are you certain about that? At her signal, Maya activated the quantum field that had been imperceptibly building in the chamber since the delegates arrived. The air shimmered briefly, and suddenly the Concordat delegates found themselves unable to maintain their crystalline forms. Their bodies shifted, becoming more fluid, more adaptable. What is happening to us? Zinra's voice carried both fear and fascination. We're not manipulating quantum states, Chen explained calmly. We're teaching them to evolve. Your physical forms are based on specific quantum configurations that you believe were fixed. We're showing those configurations how to grow beyond their limitations. The transformation was stunning. The Concordat delegates, once rigid crystalline structures, became beings of pure quantum energy, able to shift and flow at will. They hadn't been attacked or damaged. They had been elevated to a new state of existence. This is impossible, one of the delegates whispered, watching their own form shift through previously inconceivable configurations. Our entire understanding of physics was limited by your assumptions, Chen finished. You believe the universe had rules that couldn't be broken. We believe those rules were just the beginning of what's possible. In orbit above Earth, the transformed Concordat fleet was undergoing a similar evolution. The quantum field that had converted their weapons was now teaching their ships to transcend their original design limitations. But this was just the surface of humanity's plan. Project Oracle isn't just about changing what exists. Maya explained to the astonished delegates. It's about creating what could exist. We've developed quantum states that don't just operate differently. They learn, adapt, and evolve. The implications slowly dawned on the Concordat representatives. Their civilization, built on the mastery of fixed quantum principles, was being offered something far more valuable than mere technological advancement. They were being offered evolution itself. Commander Walsh, watching from his tactical station, couldn't help but appreciate the irony. They came to subjugate us, and instead, we're liberating them from their own limitations. But the true deception was only beginning to unfold. As the Concordat delegates marveled at their new capabilities, Project Oracle was quietly at work throughout their fleet, their systems, and even their own quantum matrices. Humanity wasn't just sharing technology. They were fundamentally changing how the Concordat's civilization functioned. Your ships, Chen continued, are no longer bound by their original quantum constraints. They can learn, adapt, and evolve just as you are now doing. But there's a catch that I don't think you've realized yet. Zinra's newly fluid form pulsed with curiosity. What catch? The quantum states we've created, the ones now integrated into your ships and your very beings, they're not just modifications of natural law. They're new laws entirely, ones that we wrote. And like any laws, they can be updated. The implications hit the Concordat delegates like a physical force. Their newfound power, their evolution, was dependent on quantum principles that humans could rewrite at will. They hadn't just been transformed. They had been reprogrammed at the most fundamental level. You've made us dependent on your quantum laws, Zinra realized, his form flickering with agitation. No, Chen corrected gently. We've given you the ability to transcend dependence entirely. The quantum states we've created don't just follow new rules, they learn to write their own. But yes, humanity will always be the origin point of this evolution. We're not offering you subjugation, we're offering you partnership in something far greater. President Rodriguez stepped forward. The galaxy is changing, High Commander. The question is whether the quantum Concordat will help shape that change or be left behind by it. The chamber fell silent as the Concordat delegates contemplated their situation. They had come to Earth expecting to find another civilization to absorb into their empire. Instead, they had found one that had fundamentally altered the nature of their existence. Your species, Zinra finally spoke, his form settling into a new configuration that seemed to pulse with acceptance, is either the most brilliant or the most dangerous we have ever encountered. Chen's smile widened slightly. Perhaps we're both. But more importantly, we're offering you something your empire has never had before, the chance to grow beyond what you are into what you could be. As the negotiations continued, Project Oracle quietly worked its transformation throughout the Concordat civilization. The great deception wasn't in hiding humanity's power, but in revealing it in a way that made it irresistible. The galaxy's greatest empire hadn't been conquered. It had been evolved beyond its own limitations. And in the quantum labs beneath the Rocky Mountains, the next phase of humanity's plan was already taking shape. The universe was about to learn that when humanity rewrote the rules, everyone had to learn a new way to play the game. 6 months after the transformation of the Quantum Concordat's delegation, the galaxy was experiencing changes that no civilization had thought possible. The news spread across star systems like a quantum wave. Earth hadn't just defeated the Concordat, they had transformed them into something entirely new. But that was just the beginning of humanity's vision for the future. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of humanity's first quantum-evolved starship, the Prometheus. Unlike the crystalline vessels of the Concordat or the conventional ships of other species, the Prometheus didn't just travel through space. It rewrote space itself to accommodate its passage. The quantum evolution has reached 30% of known space, Maya reported, her holographic form shimmering beside Chen. She had volunteered to undergo the first human quantum transformation, becoming a being who could exist simultaneously in physical and quantum states. The other civilizations are beginning to understand what we've offered the Concordat. The transformation of the galaxy's dominant power had sent shockwaves through every spacefaring civilization. Some reacted with fear, others with desperate hope. All of them had one thing in common. They couldn't ignore what humanity had achieved. Incoming transmission from the Concordat core worlds. Commander Walsh announced from his station. The tactical displays showed hundreds of transformed ships, their quantum signatures pulsing in harmony with Earth's new physical laws. High Commander Zinra's evolved form appeared before them, no longer crystalline but a fluid pattern of pure quantum energy. The integration is proceeding faster than we anticipated. Our people, they're beginning to write their own quantum laws. Chen nodded, satisfied. That was always the goal. We didn't want to replace one set of fixed rules with another. We wanted to teach the universe how to grow beyond any fixed laws. The true scope of humanity's achievement was only now becoming clear to the galaxy at large. Earth hadn't just developed a new technology or weapon. They had introduced the concept of evolution to reality itself. The quantum states they had created weren't just different. They were alive, capable of learning and growing. New contact, Walsh reported suddenly. Ship designs we've never seen before, approaching from the galactic core. The unknown vessels emerged from quantum space, their designs an impossible blend of organic and energy patterns. They were neither Concordat nor human in origin, but something entirely new, civilizations that had observed the quantum evolution and learned to create their own variations. They're requesting direct communication, Maya announced, her quantum-enhanced senses analyzing the newcomers. They're speaking in quantum algorithms we didn't create. They've learned to write their own. Chen's eyes lit up with genuine joy. This was what they had hoped for, but hadn't dared to expect so soon. The galaxy wasn't just accepting humanity's new quantum laws, it was learning to create its own. President Rodriguez's quantum projection appeared on the bridge. Dr. Chen, it seems your prediction was correct. We haven't just changed the Concordat. We've started a quantum renaissance. The unknown ships drew closer, their quantum signatures singing with possibilities that even humanity hadn't imagined. They were proof that the universe itself was learning to evolve beyond its original constraints. Open a channel, Chen commanded. Let's welcome our new colleagues to the quantum community. The response came not in words or traditional signals, but in pure quantum expressions, ideas and concepts transmitted directly through the fabric of space-time. These new civilizations had taken humanity's gift and transformed it into something uniquely their own. They're sharing their quantum innovations, Maya translated, her hybrid nature allowing her to interpret the complex signals. They've discovered quantum states we never even considered. The evolution is becoming truly universal. In the months that followed, humanity's quantum revolution spread across the galaxy not as a conquest or invasion, but as an awakening. Different civilizations approached it in different ways. Some transformed their entire societies, others integrated it slowly into their existing structures. But all of them began to understand what humanity had known all along. The universe wasn't a fixed set of rules to be followed, but a canvas waiting to be repainted. The quantum Concordat, once the galaxy's greatest power, became its greatest teachers, sharing their experience of transformation with other civilizations. Their ancient empire evolved into a network of quantum-enhanced worlds, each developing its own unique approach to reality manipulation. Message from Earth, Walsh announced. The first Quantum Evolution Academy is ready to open. Representatives from over 1,000 worlds are attending. Chen smiled as she watched the quantum signatures of countless civilizations converging around their home planet. Earth had become not just the birthplace of this new age, but its heart, a place where species from across the galaxy came to learn not just new technologies, but new ways of thinking about reality itself. You know, Maya mused, her form shifting through quantum possibilities. When we first developed this technology, we thought we were creating a defense against invasion. Instead, we've created something that made the very concept of invasion obsolete. Because you can't invade a reality that can rewrite itself, Chen finished. You can only learn to grow with it. The Prometheus cruised through space that rippled with new quantum possibilities, each ripple representing another civilization learning to write its own laws of physics. Humanity had not just changed the rules of the game. They had taught the universe itself how to play. In the end, Earth's greatest triumph wasn't in defeating the quantum concordat, but in showing the galaxy that the fundamental laws of reality weren't chains to be bound by, but tools to be reshaped. They had transformed an empire of conquest into a universe of creation, where each civilization could write its own destiny in the quantum fabric of space-time itself. As Chen watched new quantum signatures bloom across the galaxy like stars being born, she realized that humanity's warning to run had evolved into something far more profound, an invitation to soar. The universe would never be the same, and that was exactly what humanity had hoped for all along.